So this is Samhain. This is our Samhain display. It's the evening before All Saints, the haloed ones. So it's hallowed evening, the evening before the haloed ones. So Halloween is 31st of October, but straight after the first day of November, which is All Saints, you've All Souls. So it's the remembrance of the dearly departed. And as a result of that, people kind of merge those two things together, and it comes together on Halloween that night. And the idea that you leave out a bit of a meal, maybe for deceased members of the family, or you believe that people might be travelling back. So I suppose then there becomes a big belief in ghosts, and that's why people like to scare people and dress up as ghosts, the púca, as we have in Irish. So we have a wonderful selection of masks and going around as scary ghosts, and some of them you can see this one has sheep's wool on it and making the eyebrows and the moustache. They're mainly male. So yeah, then there's the other ones with horsehair. This one's got horsehair on the for the eyebrows and the moustache. And they'd be often made from flour bags or dyed, a bit of cotton. But like homemade masks, not the plastic masks so much, but of course they come in later, and the shop bought replaces the homemade. And then we have the turnip, because the scary lanterns made out of carved turnip and maybe potato faces as well might be kind of also carvings. So the idea of the scary lantern, this is the turnip, but it's not a real turnip. It's a model of a ghost turnip from Donegal, from Fintown. The real turnip came into the museum in 1943, and it was given to the curator at the time and said, "This is a turnip for you, but you're not allowed to eat it for your dinner." It came from Sean O'Sullivan in the Irish Folklore Commission, and basically it was given from a woman in Donegal, and she said it was the type of thing that was in Fintown in Donegal that she was used to making in around 40 years before, so around 1903. So it's really, really poignant. It's pretty scary and awful. But basically, I suppose, we carved the turnip, and now I think that tradition of carving the pumpkin has come back to us. And it's, and now we're carving the pumpkin because it's easier to carve. But what we mentioned about this time of Halloween, it's a time of plenty. You've got you've got everything in, you've got all the nuts, you've got every berry you can pick off the trees. Anything you can forage from the land is now in, and you can have the necklace made out of rose hips, and there's chestnuts and necklace, and there's an apple core made out of bone, and then conkers that kids would play with. All these things are in, and then there'd be activities associated with the abundance of apples that you have. So that's when you're bobbing for apples or apples on a string, and all these games are associated with the fact that you've got your harvest of apples in and everything's in. This idea of it's a liminal time, and maybe it's a very superstitious time, and the belief that the other world is there, but it's also a belief that you can foretell the future around this time, so you'll get more signs from the other world as to what your future holds. And especially marriage divination, the idea of divining, who am I going to marry? Am I going to get married? This is really important. And of course we all know the barn breac, and the barn breac, we have a ring in the barn breac. We have two rings from there. Often it was a pig ring or some sort of animal ring that was in the barn breac, or a ring made out of straw. Something very, very simple, nothing elaborate. But the barn breac years ago had much more things in it. Like, it wasn't just the ring you're going to get married. There was a coin in it sometimes that you're going to be rich, or a bit of a rag, or you'll be poor, and maybe a button, you'll be a bachelor, and a thimble maybe might be in it, you'll be a spinster. A stick might be in it, and you're going to be beaten by your spouse. There could be a crucifix in, and you could take up religious orders. So in all of that, you're guaranteed to get something, and I wonder whether you'd like what you get. But at least now we seem to have just gone back to just the ring. It is that festival associated with death, associated with kind of that idea of welcoming the dead, a home, your dearly departed home, to your home, and leaving sometimes something out for them, or making sure there's a candle in the window so that they can find their way home. But of course you've got the divilment and people going from help the Halloween party and going house to house and, you know, knocking on the door and give us a penny, you know, for this dark night sort of thing, and people helping, people wanting to kind of just go from house to house and gather bits and pieces and get their Halloween stash. It's a time for scaring people because they know that people are worried that there's ghosts around. So of course the people, they actually decide, yeah, we'll definitely try and scare the neighbours. So they go from house to house with scary masks, and that's what we still do. And I suppose it's a tradition, and this is one of the seasons that actually is really, it's really still there. And there's Halloween crosses as well. These are crosses. You think they're Bridget crosses, very similar to our Bridget crosses, but actually no, it's about blessing the home and protecting your home, and holy water around this time, Halloween night, and just protecting your home and your family as well. And you've also got everything you need for the winter, you have it, and you want to protect it. So I suppose it's the time to look for protection and to make sure that you get through the winter without illness, without poverty, without, you know, starving. So I suppose it's a very important time and a very important festival. It's the wintertime festival. We all still celebrate Halloween, and, you know, in different ways, somewhat different ways, but a lot of these traditions have survived. It's probably one of our best festivals other than Christmas, you know, for survival.